What up, everybody? You know what? For the most part, I've stayed very neutral in this latest bullcrap drama. Which it is bullcrap and it's very petty, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't even know why in the world there ever ended up being any kind of back and forth between Chayton and ITB, or Prince of the Dawn, or as I'm going to call him, Prince of the Alcoholics. By the way, being a drunk is a sin, by the way, so you can't sit there and try to preach to anybody about God or anything if you're going to be being a drunkard all the time. Just going to keep it real on that. There's plenty of scriptures in the Bible that talks about alcoholism and whatnot as being a sin. Yeah, I read the Bible every day, dude, so I know that. That's why I say when you had this whole deal where you think that people need to cut off Chayton because of him being an atheist and whatnot, yeah, there is parts of the Bible that talks about how you should cut off people like that. But if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to go by the Bible, what the Bible says, where it tells you to cut off certain people because of how they are or whatever, then technically I would have to cut you off too. I would have to cut a lot of people off, when it's all said and done. So, yeah. A little fun fact, I unsubbed from Chayton here a while back. I don't hate the guy. I'm not going to make it a point to hate on him, regardless of how much you want people to, because you want to go on about people being on a lynch mob against you or whatever, yet you expect people to be on a lynch mob against Chayton. It's like I said before, I was telling someone behind the scenes about this, about how people are telling me, you need to, cut off Chayton, all he's doing is using you, this, that, and the third. It's like, and the people, most of the time, the people who tell me to cut off him because they claim he's using me are just mad because they're unable to use me. Anybody that wants someone to go after somebody else because they have an issue with them, you're technically using that person. Point blank, period. So when you expect me to go against Chayton, in the way that you think I should be going against him, then technically you're trying to use me. So, I'm just going to keep it real on that. So, yeah. But no, the reason why I unsubbed from him is because all the nonsense was taking a real dark turn here a while back when it came to people going at each other's children. Whether it been people going after Chayton's kid, you yourself included, I might add, or, Chayton doxing a daycare center and things like that. I don't want to be part of that nonsense, okay? So, that's why I ended up unsubbing from people. Didn't make it a point to block people. I'm still not going to block people over that. Do I agree with it? No. But at the end of the day, that's why I unsubbed and just simply trying to move on, focus on my own personal life and things like that. And, so yeah. But if you want to mention me in a community post, again, dude, I really ain't really done any of the crap you're trying to say, claiming I'm jumping on a lynch mob or whatever. Again, I don't even think you know what a lynch mob is. You need to lay off the alcohol, because clearly it's killing your brain cells. Just going to keep it real on that. So, yeah. I mean, the fact that you want to call somebody racist because they called you a meth head, again, it really does tell me that you really ain't all there. I'm just going to keep it real on that. That, or you're just another typical black man that likes to use your race as a way to play the victim card. Try to weaponize your race, like I've seen some others do. It's ridiculous. They always like, well, I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it real. After I've seen how you was being on Money AD stream, where you was pretty much acting like another typical black supremacist, I'm like, okay, Eric Melendez 2.0, like for real. Like, I don't even want to hear you go to Eric Melendez again, because at this point you're really no different from him. Just want to keep it real on that. And oh yeah, you're kissing up the, Ulysses. This is what I find funny. You want to hate on Chayton because of him doxing your dad or uncle or whatever the hell it was, which I don't agree with that, by the way. I'm just going to make that known right now. But at the end of the day, let's keep it real. If Ulysses would have done that to somebody's family members, you would have had fuck all to say about it. I have seen Ulysses say and do some fucked up shit right there in front of you, and you just sat there with your finger up your butt and didn't say nothing, didn't check him or anything. So you can get the hell off your high horse when you expect people to go after Chayton. I'm just keeping it real on that. It's like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Of course, you kind of already have wrecked yourself. I'm just saying, all Chayton did was dox your dad or uncle, which again, I don't agree with. But again, that's all he did, and it has caused you to be more obsessive towards him than what Arthur is towards anybody. Like, for real. Guy can't even fart without you making 1,000 different shorts to it and, community posts and everything else. You're worse than what Arthur is when it comes to him responding to anybody. Like, for real. And no, I'm not talking shit about Arthur here. I'm not. I'm not cool with Arthur or anything like that. I'm just stating an obvious fact. You have become more obsessive than what Arthur is. Heck, you're more obsessive than what Daniel Ralph is at this point. That's saying something. So yes, Jayden really has broke you mentally, dude. Like, just keeping it real on that. And all he had to do is dox your dad or your, whatever it was, and say, well, they got children. Oh, like, don't even act like you care about kids. Because after you went on Money AD stream and said F Genesis, not once but twice, you have no leg to stand on to act like you care about kids. Just gonna keep it real on that. And you can say, oh, I didn't mean it. Like, it don't matter. The F word has only one meaning. It's only had one meaning. There is no other way of using it. So when you said that, you were sexualizing his daughter. Point blank period. Am I sitting here saying you're a pedophile for doing that? No. But it does make you sus of being one. Not to mention the fact you're talking to a 14-year-old, and I have seen the screenshots of you actually talking to that 14-year-old. So, yeah. And no, I don't agree with Jade talking to her either. I think y'all both in the wrong for that. I'm just going to keep it real on that. I'm not picking favoritism here. I'm keeping it real. I'm being fair about it. Both of you are in the wrong. Point blank period. And matter of fact, I would even say Jade is a little bit more in the wrong, because from what I understand, she was threatening that 14-year-old. And if that's the case, then yes, I would say she's even more in the wrong than what you are. So, yeah. But no, I'm not on no lynch mob. I've been, like I said, for the most part, trying to stay out of it. But like I said, whenever I heard that whole deal with anyone who associates with Chayton as this, that, and everything else, yes, I couldn't help but speak up. Because at that point, you are throwing me under the bus, and at that point, it does involve me. So again, this isn't me jumping on no bandwagon or lynch mob or anything. It's just me being thrown into it and having to speak up and say something. Simple as that. So, yeah. And that's really not to say on the whole deal, dude. But you doxed in elementary school. You said F a child multiple times, and evidently don't see nothing wrong with it. Talking to a 14-year-old, man, there's like multiple things there. Again, not saying you're a pedophile, but it does make you sus of being one. So, yeah. Y'all take care. God bless and peace.